Believe it or not, my children could cook things like this by the time they were 6 years old. And I know Daniel was 6. I was pregnant with my fourth, could hardly lift my head off the pillow, and Daniel wanted to cook because he always cooked with me. From the time he was sitting just on my hip, I would let my children cook with me. And he would say, "Oh, I know how to do this, Mom." He would stand up and cook. And my children and my grandchildren all learn to cook young. And this is an easy way to teach children how to make a burrito and a nacho. And if your child can do it, the member of your family that relies on you to provide food can do this also. So let's get going with burritos and nachos made from our rotisserie chicken. Each day during the month of February, I will be using the $4.99 Costco rotisserie chicken as a springboard for a wide variety of easy, inexpensive, delicious meals that are generally very healthy. Tune in every day this month for a new recipe. When my kids were young, now keep in mind I had 4 of them, I remember facing another dinner time and thinking, why do they have to eat so often? I mean, 3 times a day, 7 days a week, for 365 days a year. I'm constantly cooking. I do nothing but cook. And by then, my children were big enough that they could stand on a stool and reach the countertop. So I instituted what became my favorite menu of the week. And I probably did this maybe twice a month. We had something called Fend-For-Yourself. And my daughters who have children have since instituted this Fend-For-Yourself, which means you can eat anything you can find. And I'm not going to cook, you're going to cook for yourself, which I still do it with my husband. He'll come home from work and, he no longer says, "What's for dinner?" He says, "Is it Fend for yourself?" I usually did Fend for yourself when I had a bunch of leftovers, but not enough of any one of them to feed the entire family of 6. So one of the most popular things became Mexican food. I always had flour tortillas. I always had cans of refried beans. I always had some salsa. There was always some lettuce. I usually had some tortilla chips. And so that became Fend for Yourself. And we have a number of bits and bobs of things. So we're going to make some burritos and we're going to make some nachos. And these are kid-friendly. I want you to imagine a child on a stool making this dinner for themselves. This is easy. You don't have to cook. As long as you have a microwave and a stool for the kids to cook on, they can cook this all by themselves. If they've cooked it, they usually eat it even better, because if they didn't like it, they didn't put it on their food. So let's start with a burrito. Everybody knows how to make a burrito. Until Chipotle came along and decided to put rice. Kirby's knocking on the camera again. Until Chipotle came along and decided you put rice on a burrito. Why you put rice on a burrito, I do not know. You start a burrito with refried beans. You smear it on like you're making a peanut butter sandwich. Then after that, of course, we have some rotisserie chicken left. Kirby is quite excited now. And you put a little cheese on it. Once you've got these 3 items on, they line up at the microwave and they stick it in the microwave until the cheese melts. Okay, different microwaves take different amounts of time. I had melted cheese at 40 seconds. Now you just put on whatever you happen to have around. I really should have put some of those leftover fajita vegetables on there. That would have been good in the microwave too. So you could stick it back in for another 10 seconds, warm those up. But you can't tell if it's warm or not because you're not here to feel it. And then you would throw on your salsa. We happen to have some bottled salsa. We always have bottled salsa around. And we happen to have a little bit of that homemade salsa that I made. if I hadn't had the homemade salsa, I chopped up some tomatoes, or kids usually don't like that, so they wouldn't have wanted that. But my husband would have chopped up some tomatoes. He might have chopped up some avocado and put that on. And you end, oh, Kirby is excited. A little sour cream. There you are, a burrito. Now, we don't have gargantuan ones, so we're just going to fold ours up. Just a little roll. It's a burrito. Now, if you want to get kids really excited, tell them they can make themselves some nachos. And, you know, the kids don't mind the extra calories of some corn chips, but you're like, oh, that's a lot of trouble. It doesn't have to be. So here's your good idea. We're taking our refried beans. I'm putting it in a freezer weight Ziploc bag because I don't want this to break. And I've cut a little hole in the end, and we can just squeeze out Are you ready to eat, Kirby? Chicken, chicken, feed me chicken. So there we have. Super easy way to do that. Kid proof, they would think that was wonderful fun. We're going to put a little chicken on that. And obviously the next thing is some cheese. I learned from last time, I'm going to put, there's not much of this left. This is our fajita vegetables, but whoever gets to it first gets the leftover. Now, let's put that in the microwave. That went a little faster as I predicted it would. That was about 26 seconds. The obvious next step is a little salsa. Bottled and fresh. And definitely a little sour cream. And the last thing here, I want to make sure it's kind of nourishing. A little lettuce on our nachos, and our burrito, we can put lettuce kind of on the side. This keeps it from getting quite so wilted. If you put it in the inside, it'll make it a little more wilted. So that should do it. And of course, we want to make it look pretty, right? We'll do a pretty picture for you guys. And we'll put a little of that on top. A little of that homemade tomatillo sauce. And that is something a 6-year-old can make. And a 6-year-old would really love to eat. And I'll definitely feed that to my husband when he knocks on the door, and he can say, "What's for dinner? Is it Fend-For-Yourself?" And I could say, "Oh yeah, Fend-For-Yourself." And if you don't feel like cooking, all I can say is, you're coming to my house, fend for yourself. See you next time.